Welcome to a very interesting and informative lecture. Today we'll discuss about installation of Anaconda and also understand the interface of Jupyter Notebook. The topics to be covered today are we will be seeing how to install Anaconda and how to install Jupyter Notebook and create our first notebook program. We'll delve deeper and learn all the important terminology, that is, what's the difference between a kernel and a cell. We'll see some cool shortcuts for navigating in Jupyter Notebook, and we'll save and rename Python files in which we'll be writing some lines of code. To begin with, we'll first see Anaconda installation. Now, why exactly Anaconda? Well, it is a free and open source distribution of Python and R programming languages, and it is used for scientific computing. Anaconda distribution actually includes a bunch of Python packages, and there is a package manager which is called Conda, which is very similar to pip. So these packages are very popular in the data science community, and some of the packages are like NumPy, Skippy, Jupyter, NLTK, scikit-learn, and so on. So if you have Python installed in your system, then in order to install these packages, you will have to use pip and install these packages one by one. But one thing good about Anaconda is you get all the packages installed at one go. To install Anaconda, we can go to Google and type here download Anaconda, and you get these options out here. So I'll select the first option which comes up, which is from the anaconda.com site. I'll click on this, and here I'm seeing it's an individual edition, so I can select this and click on download. So when you click on download, you get various Anaconda installers like you have for Windows, for Mac OS, for Linux. Because I'm using Windows, I'll select the Windows, and I'm using a 64-bit processor, so I'll select 64-bit graphical installer. So I'll click on this and I'll save the exe file. So I'll click on save file. So because it is nearly 467 megabytes, the file size is little longer, so it will take little long to download. I have Anaconda downloaded, and it's right here, the installer. So we can double click on the installer. Here you can accept the default settings. You can just click on next, and they have certain licensing agreement. You can read through it and click on I agree. Now you are installing it for yourself, so you can just select just me. Just select the default installation steps. You can choose the destination folder where you want to install it and click on next and carry on the installation. You don't have to change any of the settings as of now, and just click on next and do the installation. So once Anaconda is installed and you open it up from the command prompt by selecting Anaconda, we get an interface like this where we have got Jupyter Lab, Jupyter Notebook, and there are various other consoles and IDs present. So I will be selecting Jupyter Notebook because we'll be working on this, and I'll select this option and click on launch. After selecting Jupyter Notebook, we get an interface like this where when we click, this particular line is called a cell, and because it has a green outline around it, so it's in the edit mode. I can write anything in this cell. So I wrote here A is equal to 10. So it's in the edit mode, so I am able to write in this. To execute this line of code, I'll press shift and enter. So this is ln, which is line. This is the first line, this is the second line. So this is basically for the shortcut of line. So if I write here what's the value of A, and press shift enter, you can see the output here, it's 10. Easy, right? If you were doing programs like C, C++ or Java, same kind of work needs, I think, 3 or 4 lines of code to get an output of a variable. But here, it's so intuitive, it's so easy. Just 1 line of code and you get the output. So here right now, we are in the edit mode, but if I click here, it changes to a blue outline, which means I have come to a command mode. Now what's the use of this? If I'm in the command mode and I press A, so here I have added 1 cell above. If I press A, 1 cell above. Say I'm here and I pressed B, this is 1 cell below. So B is a shortcut for adding cells below, and A is the shortcut for adding cells above the cell where you are there right now. If you don't want to use these shortcuts, you can go here and you can select these options as well. It works the same. Now say I'm here and I'm in the command mode right now, and I pressed M. So M is for making this cell as a markdown. So if I write here, say I'm writing your hash. Now hash, and then after this I write anything. Say this is first heading. Give a space. Now this is actually a markdown. It's just like an HTML tag. If any one of you knows HTML, there is a tag for making anything as a heading, which is the H1 tag, which is for the biggest heading, and it goes on in the descending order. Like H2 tag is little smaller, H3 is little smaller, much smaller than compared to H2 tag. Similarly here, we have 1 hash as the first heading and 2 hash as the second heading. Now, why are we writing these markdowns? So this markup, what I have written out here, is like an explanatory text, just like in HTML. These are like tags. So this Jupyter interface actually is great when you want to run live code. You want to fetch data from websites and run it here, or you want to do some kind of visualizations in the form of graphs or charts. When we were working on Jupyter Notebook, we were working on cells. So a code cell was the place where we were writing our lines of code. But all these lines of code get executed in a kernel. Now what exactly is this kernel? This kernel is, when you run a code cell, it gets executed within the kernel, and the kernel state will persist over and between the cells. That means whatever output of the cells is there is retained within that particular kernel. You can compare it like a session. So kernel can be compared as a document as a whole and not as an individual cell. So till that document is open or is working, the state of the cells will be maintained. So that's the difference between a kernel and a cell. We can see here, this is all these cells, whatever we are working is maintained in this kernel. So this kernel we can restart, or we can interrupt the kernel or we can shut down or reconnect the kernel. If we change the kernel, means we are going to a new document. If we want to save the file what we are working on, I can click on file and I can say save as and give a name to your file. Say I'm saving it as book 2, and IPYNB is the extension of the file by which it gets saved. You can rename it by going to file and rename and give the new name what you want it to be saved as. So these are some of the keyboard shortcuts what we have already used when we worked on the Jupyter interface. This A is for inserting a new cell above. Wherever you are, whichever is the current cell, you can insert a cell above it. B is for inserting a cell below the current cell. M transforms the active cell to a markdown cell. It's like you can write some explanatory text, just like HTML tag. Y will set the current cell to the code cell, and if you press D twice, it will delete the active cell. Z will undo your cell deletion. So this video was to give you an introduction of Jupyter Notebook interface, which we will be using henceforth in our programs.